folks, we have done it. We have made it to episode 3. And our first, thank you to all 12 of our listeners. I think we had 16 downloads this week. So
Jesus.
We appreciate that. And because of our newfound success, Patrick and I have brought on stand-up comedian, podcast god, Joe Praino, everyone, from the Dirty Sports. You know him, you love him. He's here.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Hey, thanks for coming on, buddy.
It's a pleasure. It's our pleasure.
So this is only episode 3, huh?
Yeah.
This week in sports history. Am I your first guest?
You are.
Oh, what an honor. What an honor.
Yeah. We don't wait long, you know.
To be on a podcast with one of my favorite comedians in Los Angeles and Justin.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Nicely said. Nicely said.
Oh, man.
Thank you. Yes, feeling is mutual, my friend.
We should do this more often, guys.
Yeah, this is a great masturbation session.
So you just got back from the Slow Fest, correct?
Yeah, I did. You know, it's funny. It's 4 nights, and I could only make 2 of them because I had to go to a wedding on Friday. But coming home tonight, I'm like, I'm glad I was only there for 2 nights because I would have been dead. I'm wiped after 2. Just the travel, and then I catch LA right at traffic. Right at like 3:45, and it's just 2 hours. It's just 2 hours just getting through there.
Yeah.
And then it's like whatever, but. Great part of the state. I love San Luis Obispo. Central Coast is just my favorite. It's like possibly my favorite spot in America.
Yeah, it's great. I actually go up there fairly regularly lately, and I think I've done the festival twice now.
Oh, good.
And both good experiences. It's a party festival.
Yes, it is. Yes, yeah. You're almost relieved. Well, or maybe this is my spinoff. You're almost relieved if you don't make the best of the fest, the final night. You're like, relax now.
I did it. I think it's 2 years ago, 2022, and I did get best of the fest.
Oh, nice, good.
And it was that exact feeling. I was like, I would, you go to the pizza place and they announce whatever. I was like, oh man, I was like, my bags are packed. I was walking out of here. I was walking out of here with some pizza sandwich between napkins, and I was hitting the road home.
Totally.
Guess I got to stick around now.
Sucks, man. Sucks when you're good.
Sucks.
Nick Hoff had to drive back one. He went home on a Saturday night after his show, and then found out Sunday. Oh,
he drove back up,
and he drove back up the next day. 4 hours or whatever.
I would have just been like, put me on the marquee and Photoshop me into the pictures.
Totally.
That's great. How was your weekend, Joe?
Fairly uneventful. What day is it? Is today Monday?
Today's Monday.
Fairly uneventful. Oh, yeah. So last weekend, sort of the tail end of last weekend, last Sunday, I went to the U2 show in Vegas. And so then I was in Vegas from Sunday until Wednesday. So it kind of threw my whole, that felt like my weekend. And then I got back here for the end of last week, and it felt like and then my girlfriend was out of town for the weekend. So I literally, when you're like, how was your weekend? I was like, why can't I remember what I did? I did nothing. I sat, I watched, there was a portion of Saturday, and I'm not proud of this, but I caught the end of A Few Good Men, one of my favorite movies of all time, on I think it was on BBC America. And then that rolled right into Cocktail. And I watched Cocktail, but I was like, listen, I'm not going to sit here and watch Cocktail. So I watched about half of it. And then I went off and did some shit around the house. And then when I came back, A Few Good Men had started again. And then I was like, well, I should watch up until where I watched the first time. Right? So then I watched it, and I got to that part, and I was like, well, what I watched the first time was just the Jack Nicholson scene at the end anyway. So then I took myself all the way through fucking A Few Good Men. I've watched A Few Good Men 1.5 times. And then they started Cocktail again. And then I was like, well, I should watch the part I missed. and then I watched that part of Cocktail, and then I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So now I've watched Cocktail. I watched the second half first and the first half second, and I watched A Few Good Men 1.5 times. This was my Saturday. It was like a Pulp Fiction version of a Tom Cruise IMDb page. It was like out of order, but it was great nonetheless.
I'll tell you, those movies, both those movies, his father is dead.
Correct.
It's a dead lawyer and then a dead bartender. There's like 10 straight Tom Cruise movies where his father's dead. It's wild.
And both he's in the military, which I forgot about Cocktail.
Yeah.
That in the end they drop him, the military guys like catch up with like a Jersey Transit bus and like throw him on like outside the city. And I was like, oh yeah, he was like a Marine or something.
That's so funny.
Sounds eventful.
Yeah, it was great.
That's
and then
awesome.
Yeah, that was the highlight of my weekend. So that should tell you
That was the high.
What I did.
I was telling Pat, one of my best friends' wife was out of town as well, and it was the complete opposite. Like, it almost reminded me of that bit you do where, like, he's just like, we gotta go. Like, it's like, dude, like Friday and Saturday we went pretty hard, and then Sunday I get a text at like noon that just says, "What's up?" I'm like, "No, I'm not.
We're not doing
no,
this again."
No,
Yeah.
I got to work tomorrow.
Go away. I love that you know exactly what that text means. Just like
Yeah.
two words, and that your weekend's over with those two words.
Yeah. Woke up both days with a Taco Bell bag next to me on my nightstand. I'm like, oh my God.
I just moved and have a Taco Bell about 600 feet from me, and I'm generally pretty good at avoiding the nastiness that is Taco Bell. And now that I live here, I've got a rewards email that I punch in when I go. I just tried Taco Bell breakfast for the first time. I found out that there's breakfast salsa. They have specific salsa just for breakfast. Things have gone off the rails a little bit.
Welcome, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
We've been waiting. Well, all right. Let's talk this week in sports history. Fellas, 1888. The father of American golf, John Reed, first demonstrates golf on a Yonkers cow pasture to his friends.
Wow.
I mean, how quick did it become a douchebag sport? Like, like was he a good guy? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, like, was he a blue collar guy or a great thinker, or was he just adopting it from Scotland? I don't know.
Yeah, he must have brought it over from Scotland, right? As a New Yorker, what jumps out to me about this is that it happened, first of all, in Yonkers, and second of all, that there were cow pastures in Yonkers. It must have been farmland then, because Yonkers is there's not a lot of golfers in Yonkers these days. That's for sure.
So they moved right through it. Yeah, that's wild. So cow pastures. I mean, I don't have much except that's what, just a few years after. Is that 20 years after the Civil War? So America's getting into all kinds of stuff.
They were like, now that we've freed the slaves, let's form small patches of grass all over the country where they're not allowed again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember those plantations they were on? Now they're not allowed on them anymore.
Those will become country clubs, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, can you imagine that guy though, like, just introducing it to his friends, like, you got to see this, because they don't have like regular golf ball yet. I'm wondering like what he's hitting, like a rock and a stick. Like, they don't got, ping wasn't there yet.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, like,
yes. I mean, was it one club at a time? Did you carry a club, or was it a bag? I don't know. It's great. It's great to look into. I love that we ask these questions on the podcast. We don't do the research first.
No. But I actually started playing golf during pandemic with Joe.
That's right.
And that's why when I saw that headline, I was like, oh, we gotta bring this one on if Praino's coming on.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to say fuck that guy for ruining my life.
Yeah.
Had he not brought that, it could have just been a Scottish only sport. It could have been like curling or whatever, or hurling, I should say, right? It's
Yes.
the Irish do hurling. Like, I don't need to know anything about it. Like, he came over and now suddenly I've wasted tens of thousands of dollars while like getting angry at myself. Yeah, I wish golf had never come to Yonkers.
Yeah, that would have been. We could have been spared so much money, so much. Have you guys done the Los Feliz 3? That course, it's featured in the movie Seniors. Yeah, that's a good course.
I have done that one time.
With you. It was the two of us, wasn't it?
Did we play together?
Yeah, it was on my birthday, wasn't it?
Oh no, that was that's still the worst golf course
Sherman
I've ever
Oaks
played.
3.
That was Van Nuys.
Van Nuys, yeah. Yeah, it's awful.
I've described that course to multiple people as having similar fairways as to what I assume is in Baghdad. It was just like dusty holes in the ground.
But I wonder, on that day in 1888, like, one of my ancestors was there, like, just his drunk friend that was just like, hey, the sport's a lot more fun if you get wasted. So they're probably drinking moonshine or something on the course, and probably that's how that was discovered.
What's amazing is I'm assuming the cow pasture in Yonkers was a nicer manicured course than the Van Nuys golf course. They hadn't even introduced golf here yet, and they were already like, it's better than Van Nuys.
Yeah. I actually just joined the Penmar Men's League that's getting ready to start up on Tuesday night. So I'm sure that's going to be action-packed golf extreme. So if you ever want to play on Tuesday night, hit me up. All right, moving on.
That's it.
In 1929. What? Yeah, that's it.
Good to see you, Joe.
Yay.
What happened in 1929?
The Boston Red Sox announced they will play Sunday MLB games at Braves Field because Fenway Park was located too close to a church.
Okay.
Side note, I did look into this because this tells you how not bright I am. I was like, damn, they traveled all the way to Atlanta to play in the Braves Stadium on Sundays. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, yeah.
He works at a sports memorabilia store. a true sports historian.
Yeah.
That's what the Braves went Boston to Milwaukee.
I think that's correct.
And then to Atlanta, I think. Yep. Yeah. Milwaukee Braves, yeah. And they were just calling what every other team had a Native American mascot, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Yankees and Braves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'm sorry, Red Sox and Braves, right.
I love that Fenway was too close to a church. That's just, I mean, when you think about what goes on at Fenway Park now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And is that only they will play Sunday? Oh, okay, so Sunday games only. Okay, located too close.
Because they didn't want churchgoers to, they're sitting in their pews and they hear drunken Red Sox fans screaming the N-word, and they're like, I gotta go. It just sounds too fun. I just gotta
go. Totally. I mean, how late is church going?
Yeah.
Don't baseball games start at 1 at the earliest local?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
there's some all-day churchers.
How about no midday service on Sundays?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's that's Red Sox fans. They always,
Also, how about reversing it? Why not having moved the church to a pre-Red Sox game? Now you have way more room for people, right? Get them in there. Get a 2-for-1 deal.
I mean, I bet you did piss off a lot of priests and nuns. They love sports. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, what? So this
Think about how much better church would have been with hot dogs.
Oh, dude. Yeah, because that'll kill 5 to 10 minutes. And you're like, oh, cool. We're already through the homily. This is great.
You're a kid. Your parents have like a little bag of Cheerios that's got to get you through church. Instead, you're like, how about a hot dog?
Oh, God. Dream, man. Dream. So that's 1929. That's the Depression year. That's when the Depression starts. The crash. It all ties in somehow. It all ties in. And that was about 10 years after they'd won their most recent World Series, before they went on that cold streak of whatever, 80 years.
Yeah.
I think 1917 or something. So interesting. They were probably 12 years out away from a World Series, and they're like, man, we need some things here to mix it up.
I love the idea too of them being like 10 years into that curse and being like, guys, we can't forget that church is a big thing. I feel like, we've gotten away from church. And maybe this is why we're having this. Right. We've had this downturn cut to a full century later.
Oh, dude. Yeah. We're like, by the time they did win it, they'd do anything. They'd burn down their own churches.
Yeah. None of the people that were in that church were alive.
Yeah.
I think they do that today.
Yes.
That didn't hit. Cool. So wing and a miss.
Sorry, Justin, your mic's coming through a little light on me, Justin. I only hear you a little bit.
Is it?
Yeah.
I was having issues last week too with this. So
you're okay with me. You're okay for me.
Yeah, you sound great.
Oh,
that's why I'm laughing at all your jokes.
Oh, thanks.
Oh well, it's not my mic.
It could be Justin's jokes. It could be Mike. I don't know. It's one thing.
It's not my mic. But I don't. Yeah, let me see here. But
you hear Justin okay though?
I do. Justin, okay. I hear you. I hear you well. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's just me.
Fenway Park. God, I mean, and that little shoebox is still going strong. I visited that little bar in the winter. I was in Boston once, and there's a little bar in like the outfield. That's phenomenal. And I just went in there. I was like the only one in there. It was in the middle of winter, in the middle of a weekday, and just soaking in the history.
I've only been to Fenway one time.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience, but it feels like something as a big baseball fan, it feels like a place worthy of a revisit.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that left field, it's right there. It's like, oh my God, that's a little pop fly away. I would love to have been a left fielder in that field, because somebody hits, you're like, oh, cool. There's no pressure in catching it. Get it off the wall into second or third.
All you have to be, and they would always give guys credit for it when it would happen, but it's like, if you just knew how to play the carom off the wall, they treated you like a god, because there's not a whole lot of room to run. So as long as you know how to handle that ball off the wall, they'll be like, he really knows what he's doing out there.
Oh yeah.
Now I hear you great, Justin. Now I can hear your little laugh coming through the microphone. So I think you fixed whatever that little issue was.
Oh, okay. Damn. That was such a good joke that didn't hit, but
you can do it again.
No, just trust us on this one.
I feel like this is going to greatly improve my quality as a guest suddenly.
Yeah. All right. Moving along. More baseball. 1942. The New York Yankees announced 5,000 uninformed soldiers admitted free at each of their home games.
Is that uniformed soldiers?
No, it says uninformed. I don't know. But
coming from a soldier.
But maybe, I bet you they meant uniform, though.
I would love that. It'd be great if they were like, hey, you didn't know you've been drafted. They were uninformed soldiers. They're like, we got good news and bad news.
Yeah.
This is the way you're going to find out. Yeah, it's on the Jumbotron.
The good news is free tickets to a Yankee game. What's the bad news? Have you heard of Hitler?
Yeah.
You're going over, boys. Yes. I would think it's uniform, Justin.
It says uninformed. I copied and pasted, but it could have been a typo on their part. Okay. But yes, uniform does make so much more sense. So we're going to go with uniformed. Back to the not very smart guys. I joined the military. Okay.
That's hilarious.
Speaking of.
So that's each of their home games. That's every game that year they had to have
5,000. Like what were ticket sales like?
Yeah.
They were winning World Series. The Yankees were winning them all through there.
It's like Chargers home games. Like you have to pay fans to come. Like
First they got free Yankees games. Now they get to board flights before me. Like, where does it end? Where does it end with you soldiers?
What So the Yankees. So I wonder if the Yankee Stadium had just been built, the house that Ruth built, and they needed to fill more seats than ever before. I don't know. That seems late though. I think Yankee Stadium was around probably in the late 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, God, that's a lot of seats. But
why? And I think the old Yankee Stadium. I mean, I think it was pushing 60,000.
Okay.
So you're looking at 8% of your fan base or whatever. You get free.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to remember all the games were day games back then. So
yeah. And so the war ends 3 years later. Are they like, we can't keep giving these troops free tickets?
They're like, hey, it's like how vets can't get on flights first. They're like, no, active duty. Like vets get in the back with everyone else. Like like. But my thing is, it made me laugh because you guys ever see every time like they're like, and we'd like to welcome so and so's family. It'll be like a deployed soldier. We know he's coming out. Like he's back. Like we've seen we have the internet. We know what's going to happen. But
I've said it 1,000 times. If you're an 11-year-old boy that's just a baseball fan, and suddenly your favorite team asks you to throw out the first pitch, spoiler, your dad's the catcher. Well, your dad who's in Afghanistan is behind the plate.
Right. But like just imagine the very first time it happens where like someone just shows up on the Jumbotron and you're like, what the fuck? We just couldn't have a Skype at home. Like, why are we chit-chatting in front of like like, how's it going? Good. How's it going over there? So I just
your home team doesn't love you that much, kid. Like, this is put on. Yeah.
Also, nowadays, I feel like you go to a game and they'll be like, today's active military member of the game, Lieutenant blah, blah, blah. And we've all got to stand. They do that 5,000 times at the Yankee games. They're like, here we go. We got 5,000 names to list off. You're just standing the whole time.
I do want to see one of those videos where the mom or dad comes home from the military and the kid just isn't that stoked.
Yeah.
Or the family just like, oh, yeah, I'm at this thing right now. I'm a little busy right now, Dad.
Dad,
he was like, he's really.
Dad, the Yankees asked me to throw out the first pitch. You're kind of stealing my spotlight here.
Yeah.
That kid's actually excited to meet the Yankees catcher and doesn't get to meet him. He's like, dude, I just saw you 2 months ago. You haven't been gone that long.
That's good. Yeah. Too soon. Too soon. That would be great. I always do I want to do a sketch where like guy gets home from the military, lands in the airport, and meets his lady, and there's like some creepy dude that's like, hey man, thanks for your service. And he's like, oh, cool, man. Thank you. Yeah, no worries. Then he meets him out at the curb where they're loading the bags. He's like, oh, thanks for your service. He's like, yeah, dude, no worries, man. No worries. Then like meets him at his house in the front of his house. And he's like, thanks for your service. And he's like, get the fuck away from me, dude. And then the last scene is them like having sex. Like it's been a while. And the guy's under the sheets with him. He's like, dude, I really want to thank you for your service. Oh God. Fun.
He's like, I wasn't there for you.
Yeah.
So.
Fuck out of my bed.
Well, I'll tell you where you can probably meet a guy that's like that is in 1948.
Oh, here we go. That was a good segue.
Oh, it's perfect.
Oh, nice.
In 1948, NASCAR is incorporated.
Hell yeah.
Wow. And that's Dewey defeats Truman. So I don't know what's related there. That's the headline. Even though Truman comes back and wins the election and then goes for another term. So 48, that's interesting.
Were you a history major, Patrick?
No, I'm just fascinated by like presidents and stuff.
Okay.
I'm not like, Pat Nay's kid is like a genius, a savant with it. But I'm just really interested in like time periods and presidents and World War II era. So that's an interesting time. By getting incorporated, what does that mean? It gets it's
created, I'd say. Like it's a new
They probably before that it was probably just moonshiners racing their fucking cars, and now they're like, we should make it a whole thing. We should make it a real thing.
Yeah. advertisers can get involved, stuff like that. Right?
We need to make this an LLC. That way, if anybody crashes, they can't sue us.
Yeah, that's it.
They're like,
that's
oh, look at the smarts on the Northern boy.
That's it. And NASCAR took off in the South. I think one of the reasons, because I read that it's just so flat that you could just drive faster, and it wasn't as crowded as the North or whatever, and the West was more mountainous, but the South was. And the South, obviously, the Civil War, they didn't necessarily always trust the government. The government that they were trying to secede from. So, like the whole Smokey and the Bandit thing, that's one of the greatest comedies of all time.
Yeah,
Cannonball Run. Spawned from that, but so they're incorporated in 48. So that's the first. All of a sudden, logos are going on the jackets. Logos are going on the cars.
Yeah.
Dude,
they had their cars, and then they were like, "Hey, not enough stickers on your car."
Yeah. Dude,
Pennzoil blew up.
You know how when you're driving down the road and you always see that Wrigley billboard? What if we made it smaller and we put it on your car? Now instead of you driving by the billboard's driving by you. Like, this is why we incorporated.
Yeah.
Wrigley's got to sign the check to somebody.
There's one thing that goes with driving. It's a nice cold Budweiser.
Yeah. Right? They're talking about driving. Like alcohol sales are through the roof, dude.
It's still legal in NASCAR that you can still, like, there are cars that are sponsored by like Tito's vodka, right?
Oh yeah,
it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been to a NASCAR race?
I have not.
It's a blast. The whole weekend's just like it's something in there is contagious, because when you get there, all of a sudden you have a drawl in your voice, like you're
drinking
your wife. You're drinking.
All of a sudden, you got a hankering to hit a girl in the face.
You're drinking nothing less than 22-ounce cans. Like, dude, it was like I went up there with like 4 other buddies, and I was like, fine, I'll go just to go. And we took an RV up there, and so we're just having a blast on the way up there. And they were all like, "Fuck Tony Stewart," and I'm like, I'm Tony Stewart's new #1 fan. I went to his merch tent and bought like a hoodie, bought like one of those chairs that you can sit down in, bought a couple t-shirts. And
I'll say this. I mean, you are consistently a guy who loves the merch. You will buy, you go to a thing, you're buying the thing, man.
Yeah. My hat obsession has turned into hoodies now. Like, I have a ton of hoodies. But so we're walking to the race, and you can bring your own cooler inside the race. Like, but the dimensions on the drinks have to be. So this guy tried to get all these 40s in, but you can't bring glass bottles in. So he's like, he sees my Tony Stewart hoodie. He's like, "Hey, get over here." He's a Tony Stewart fan. He's like, "Help me drink these." And then my buddies came over to try and drink some too. He's like, no, if you don't like Tony Stewart, you can't drink these beers. and then I get wasted. I go into the race. I buy for $80 some headphones to listen to Tony Stewart's pit crew like during the race. And all my friends are like, "Let me listen." I was like, "You don't even like Tony Stewart."
Now, is this before or after Tony Stewart murdered a guy?
Oh, way before.
Oh, way before. Okay.
Yeah. Like, after he murdered somebody, that's when I just got a couple hats. Like, yeah.
Was he still a Home Depot sponsored racer?
Oh, number 20. Yeah. And
then
it was the next year after that he went to the 14 Toyota.
Okay.
So like, I used to like, I haven't watched it in years, but there for a while, like because I went that one weekend, like it was a blast. So I started watching it, and then I was just talking with John Huck. I guess John Huck's really into NASCAR.
No, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
So. Everything I know about NASCAR, I know because of Days of Thunder. Again, I'm Tom Cruise obsessed. I'm Tom Cruise obsessed guy. Like,
was his dad alive in that one?
No, a former race car driver, dead.
That's right. Yeah, dead. Robert is that a thing? Are all Tom Cruise dads dead in all these movies? Like, is that a?
There's like 10 or 12. I mean, like,
he's always running. He's running from the memory of his dead dad.
Yeah, Magnolia, his dad dies. Far and Away, his dad dies.
Top Gun, he's dead.
He's dead. What's the other where he plays Ethan? Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Outsiders. All their parents are dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rain Man. His father dies in the beginning. That's what Rick
right.
Winston.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's quite a few, man.
This
Like
is like
those script writers. Those script writers knew how to get Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
like Tom Cruise would get it. Like, is dad alive? No, Tom.
Yeah, no.
Pat, you got it. You know that Michael Costa joke that where he's doing Leonardo DiCaprio is always wet. Have you seen this clip?
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah,
this,
yeah.
wet. You got to do this. Dead, dead. Dead.
Yeah, you're right. I almost did my college thesis on it. I remember, and that was 20 years ago. But yeah, The Firm. His dad is dead. Lawyer.
I haven't seen The Firm in a while. I've got to. You like how I've turned your podcast into just a Tom Cruise podcast?
I like it. I like it.
If one of these dates doesn't relate directly to something that happened in Tom Cruise's life, I'll be really mad.
Yeah, we're definitely clipping just the Tom Cruise part.
All right, perfect.
We got one more event, and then we'll get on to This Week in Sports Misery. Here we go. 1989. Pete Rose meets with Commissioner Uberoth to discuss his gambling.
Okay.
Wow.
So was that about 3 years after it happened, or 2 years?
You know,
or no? It happened right then and there?
I think so. I think it was around 89. Like,
okay,
yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. It happened right there. So it wasn't like, you're suspended. We'll talk about this in a couple of years.
This sounds like it's an initial meeting. Hey, come in and we'll talk about your gambling.
Right. Okay.
And then they're like, how much you been gambling? He's like, a lot. I bet on my team. I bet on the other team. And they're like, no, Pete, what? Why did you just tell us all that?
Yeah. I bet he did walk into it like that.
Yeah.
They win the World Series the next season. They sweep the A's in 90, which is really impressive. But
was Pete the manager in 89? And then was it Piniella who took over, right?
Yeah.
Pinella's the one who wins the World Series with them in 90.
Correct.
Amazing. It would be amazing if Pete being suspended from baseball is like how they get the great young manager and win a World Series.
You think he knew?
Pinella's not that young at that time, I guess, but
yeah, he had just okay. Yeah. So Pete was done as a manager until 89, retired as a player in 86.
Right.
So yeah, that was his last season. So that was Pinella's first season, man. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
What a great way to cleanse the palate after all that. Go and beat the A's, who were heavy favorites.
I wonder if Pete bet on the A's in that series.
Yeah.
They were dogs. They were dogs in that.
Yeah. God, he would have made a killing if he bet on his Reds. But yeah. That's the only thing. Was Pete Rose ever betting against his team and screwing up the lineup intentionally? That's right. That's the big issue.
Right.
Because if you're betting on yourself or your team to win, I don't have a problem with that, of course.
That's what he always claimed. That if he ever bet on them, that he was betting them to win. But who knows?
Who knows, man?
I joked on the Dirty Sports a couple years ago when they announced that gambling was going to become legal in Ohio. I said Pete Rose has got to get the first Ohio bet, and he did.
He did.
He placed the first bet at the new sports book in the current Cincinnati Reds. It's like they'll trot out Pete Rose for everything except the Hall of Fame. They refuse to acknowledge that this guy has the most hits ever. But
yeah.
And what does placing the first bet entail? He was the first guy in line, or what? Like,
yeah, but I think it was a ceremonial. For, you know, I mean, I don't think he had to line up for like the iPhone. I don't think he brought out Justin's Tony Stewart chair.
But what was it? It was like 100 on the Reds to win it all, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, I think so.
I don't know the actual amount, but I know it's for the Reds to win it all.
He has not gotten better at gambling, that's for sure.
No, he in the sports memorabilia world, he's known as one of those guys that just signs like way too much. Like his autographs aren't really worth anything.
Oh, interesting.
Because he'll like book signings in Vegas all the time. Like,
yeah, I remember there was a thing. I think it was at Caesars where he was there, he just had like a little thing.
Yeah.
Like you went to Caesars and Pete Rose was there signing. And what was cool about it was he would sign whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
Like he would write like, Bush did 9/11 on it or whatever. Like he didn't, he didn't give a shit. He'd write whatever you wanted.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them he did for fanatics that say, "I'm sorry, I gambled on baseball, Pete Rose," and you can buy one of those baseballs for like $100. And I mean that's just what he did. Like him and Jose Canseco's like that too. Like he just signs. Like I have a Jose Canseco signed jersey that I spent $50 on. It says like to Justin, and it's a nice jersey and everything. I'm just like, geez.
Yeah, there's some athletes that like I know Bill Russell was like, no, I'm not signing anything. I'll talk to you for a minute, but we're not signing anything. That's a good policy. I mean, you figure that out early, and you're like, oh, cool, I'm going to save myself so much time.
Yeah.
Pete Rose did that great clip where he was talking to A-Rod. Do you remember that? A couple of years ago. Do you remember that, Joe?
Yeah, it was him talking about. It was them talking like in depth about hitting, right?
Yeah, they go to commercial and he's talking about crowding the plate when you got 2 strikes on you.
Yep.
And his strategy, and it's just a quick 7-minute or maybe 3-minute seminar, and I think it went viral. And it was A-Rod, and I don't know who the other. Oh, Harold, maybe Harold.
Harold Reynolds. Yeah.
But really fascinating. I'd love to see him. I don't know, held in higher grace as someone born in Toledo as I was. I was more of a Tigers fan than Reds, but it's you want a feel good story there, a good ending, a happy ending somehow.
Yeah, it seems so crazy for Rob Manfred they're not doing anything right in baseball. You got to think that I think Manfred just announced that this is his last 5-year deal. Like he's not going to renew. The next guy, it's going to be so easy for whoever becomes the next commissioner to just walk in and just be a fan favorite because Selig was so bad and Manfred so bad. Just come in and be like, Pete Rose is going to the Hall of Fame. You can drink till the 9th inning now, and just like start. Just be that. It's just It's so easy for a baseball guy right now to just make things right, and they just kind of refuse to do it. It's like Pete Rose is one of those guys. He's just sitting there for the taking. The person who decides that's something Trump would do if Trump was commissioner. He's like, Pete's in, he's in, and everybody be like, yeah.
He would pull some big shit. Yeah.
That's why I like him, because he's not, he's draining the swamp.
Yeah.
Yes. Pete's a great man. Pete's in. He bet on me to win both elections, and he was right both times.
Yes.
He's gonna get paid out on that second one when I finally prove it in court.
Yeah. That would be, dude. That is something Trump would do. Like he would override the MLB commissioner and do.
I wouldn't be surprised if Trump did that as just part of this election cycle. It's like, if you vote me president, I'm bringing Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's not under your jurisdiction.
Yeah, that's not even close. That would
trust me. I can do it.
Yeah,
that would get. I mean, Ohio's a big state. Ohio's a big strategic state.
It speaks to them more than Cole does at this point.
Yeah.
I like that he tried to save the 60 coal jobs in Ohio. That was his big plan last time.
Yeah.
Just speak to the degenerate gamblers.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be cringy if they do it after Pete Rose passes away.
Yeah.
If they're like, you know what? We're going to do it. Like, to honor him. Like, we should have done this years ago, but we're going to do it. And like, I would like, get fucked. Like,
right.
Do it while the man's alive.
There's so much time to do it.
Pete Rose also seems like a cockroach. He seems like the kind of guy that'll live to be 110, and then they'll finally do it, and then he'll be like, "That's all I was waiting for." Just like,
yeah.
But it's like, just with how sports gambling is today, it's just like, come on, it's not. Everyone's doing it now. Like it shouldn't be like, it's like almost like the prisoners still in prison for like weed. It's like, come on, like that's my comparison to how Pete Rose is. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Everyone gambles now. Like, it's not a crime anymore. Like, I can do it from my phone. This guy at least had to go out, find a trustworthy booker. Like, can you imagine being the booker taking Pete Rose's bets, like knowing, like, damn,
Yeah.
It's a thing they do like every All-Star break too, where they kind of have like a State of the Union with Rob Manfred, or like the commissioner every year, and that's always something they talk about is like Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. They're like, Rob, is Pete Rose getting in the Hall of Fame? And it's like his answer right after these words from FanDuel. The money line on Rob Manfred saying they're going to let Pete back into baseball right now is -200. It's +150 that they're not.
So funny.
And he's still no, he gambled.
The sports gambling. Do you guys see the SNL sketch from?
No.
Oh, it's good. Check it out. They did
most recent week, last night.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
okay.
was. It was.
Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis.
Oh,
It was hilarious.
Nice.
Like, but it like talks about like the dad that's like down and out, like what the odds are, like his wife's going to leave him now and stuff. Like, and I forget what the name of it is, but it's like a playoff FanDuel, but it was actually pretty funny. So
yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I heard Mike Schmidt talk. He said, he's like, we need to get every living member of the Hall of Fame together and Pete present his case to all of us together. I was like, oh, okay, there's one step. I didn't know what the process would be.
Yeah.
And they would have to. But I mean, how honest is he going to be? What do those guys know? I mean, those guys all know the truth.
Yeah.
I would say.
I mean, I think that's where we are in sports today is like for so long. I mean, still now, but like the sports writers decide because it was like, these baseball players are just playing baseball. They don't have time. Mike Schmidt, when he was playing, probably had no idea what this guy's batting average looks like or that guy's. But now everybody's got a phone. Like at this point, everybody can get any information they need. All of these leagues and all of these Hall of Fames, they should all be decided by former players and coaches and play-by-play guys. Like the idea that Mike Lupica still has a say about who gets into the Hall of Fame is ludicrous.
Right. Great call.
Yeah.
Kind of funny tidbit. Really funny. Is Mike Schmidt is either one hit or one home run behind George Brett.
Wow.
They're both third basemen. They went against each other in the 1980 World Series.
It's got to be one hit. Yeah,
I think it's one hit. So
because Schmidt's got like 500 and whatever homers, and
a lot more home runs. Okay, so it's one hit. So Schmidt's always like he wants that call reverse from Yankees.
Oh yeah.
He wants the Pine Tar game to get overturned.
Did they overturn it after they? After so it was on
the game. Yeah, it went to it. Turned the finality of it was a Royals victory. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a beautiful moment. I mean,
that's one of the great clips ever.
Because that ended the game, right? Because there was like 2 outs, and he hit a home run to go up in the top of the 9th.
The best is that the whole discussion happens. I mean, I've seen the clip 1,000 times, but he's sitting like on the dugout, like kind of on the top of the bench. And he's got the big shoe in. He's just sitting there, and then it's just like, I mean, you couldn't get Daniel Day-Lewis to turn. You couldn't get Daniel Day-Lewis to go from 0 to 100 that effectively. Like he's just sitting there, and then when the second he goes up is just full
phenomenal
psycho.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We grew up. I mean, what we got to see in sports, in films, and in sports in the late 70s to whatever the mid 90s. It's just
yeah.
And then there's, of course, the George Brett shit his pants story, which is even better.
Yeah, I've heard that. Heard that clip. He says he's good to do that once a year or something.
Yeah, he's good. He's good to just fully diarrhea his pants once a year.
Seems often. Seems like that's too much.
My favorite part of that clip too. Again, this sort of the same thing except in reverse. He tells his whole story about shitting his pants, diarrhea in his loafers, and then turns it right out. Who's pitching this game?
Yeah. His ability to 180.
Yeah. It's just his brain's got a light switch in it.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's crazy. Well, all right. Our one this week in sports misery. We're going kind of recent. 2019. Robert Kraft, owner of the NFL team, the New England Patriots, charged with soliciting prostitution as part of a human trafficking sting operation in Jupiter, Florida.
Girls go to Jupiter. You know?
Yeah.
Dude, did anybody think that's gonna stick? You know what I mean? Everybody's like, this is going away so quick.
Yeah.
This is
I
going
just
away.
remember it was like when they investigated the whole thing, I believe he literally like got in his car, went to a Jack Shack, went from the Jack Shack to his airplane, and they flew to Kansas City for the AFC Championship game. Like this guy, it was the definition of self-care.
Yeah.
He was just like, he's like, I just need to get one off here. We got a big game. What am I going to do? I don't know where to go in Kansas City. Now I've got to find a whole.
Yeah.
I don't even know what state that's in. It's you would think Kansas, but it's not. They dupe you that way. I'm just going to take care of this before I leave Florida.
Yeah. I was surprised of all states, Florida was the one that was having this whole sting. Like Florida seems like they'd be
very disorganized.
Yeah.
Very disorganized. Yeah. I would think, and looser morally than most places. Yeah. Sorry, so it's Jupiter. Is Jupiter near like Tampa or Miami or West Palm? Does anybody
Jupiter's
know?
like, I think, pretty central. Jupiter's like big golf area. Like a lot of those pro golfers live in Jupiter. I think it might be like centrally, like kind of Orlando-ish.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, it looks like that. It looks toward the water in the east, but halfway up. Yeah, looks like it. Jupiter is north of North Palm Beach. They've got a Jupiter Island. Cool.
I believe Tiger Woods has a house in Jupiter, which would explain there being a.
Oh, nice. Yes, a brothel.
It would explain there being a whole human trafficking ring there.
Yeah. God, he could do the whole industry there. He could change the economy.
He's like,
Robert Kraft was kind of beloved. His wife had passed. He's the likable owner that really gives the coach a lot of leeway. He's very good on camera. He's kind of this fatherly figure. So America just didn't want to see him go down. Nor did he or the powers that be. And it was like, this is going away so quick.
But whatever came, I don't remember anything really coming of it. It was just like, nothing. He's just known to go to rub and tugs like that. Okay.
Yeah, it's like everybody. How much money went toward the resources that went toward catching him?
Yeah.
And then not convicting him. It's like, okay, then what are we doing? Why even catch him?
Yeah. I like that COVID didn't exist in Florida, but human trafficking did. It's like, this is where you guys draw the line. Like,
totally. Because his wife died probably 2 or 3 years before that, I think.
Yeah.
So
he's just like, listen, I need a
love
of a strong woman.
Right.
Now, if she's 15, so be it. I'm not in charge of who they hire here. I'm just trying to feed the local economy.
Did they have a game there? Were the Patriots playing there?
No. I think he lived. I think he has a place there because I believe it happened like right before their playoff game. Because I think Justin saying he was charged. I think this might be like, because now we're a couple weeks. We're a couple weeks removed from the Super Bowl, so we're a month out from when a championship game would be. This is probably his court date.
Right. Dude, the super rich. I mean, to own more than one home, to own multiple large homes, to be able to fly privately to those homes, like it doesn't even matter. You kind of don't live in Boston. Like when people, Boston's rough winters. If you're not a billionaire, it's rough.
Yeah. My big issue with this, I remember it happening, is he has multiple homes. He has a jet that he got on almost immediately after I went to the game. Maybe just get this girl to come to your house.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, dude,
you're going to eat at Wendy's. You're a billionaire. Like what? If you want, I'm not saying you shouldn't have Wendy's, but you should not be seen in a Wendy's. Go have a butler pick up your Wendy's. Like
Postmates.
Yeah. So avoidable.
Yeah. Like post dates. He should have had one delivered, but
did, and who else? Eddie Murphy and Hugh Grant. Did they both get caught? Okay, in public.
Yeah,
something
picking up like streetwalkers, right? Like,
Yeah, it's like,
You
dude,
got money.
guys, ways around. Do you just like the seediness of it? Maybe the random moment. Yeah, impulsive. Yeah. It reminds me though with the owner Robert Kraft. I think Bruno Mars got in trouble when he was young, possibly with some substance, and the powers that be were like, we're going to make this go away. Like, it's just, there's too much money involved. You're going to be so big. This just needs to go away. And like,
Yeah.
you're going to be America's sweetheart,
Yeah.
And it did, man.
Then, but then you had someone like Deshaun Watson, who was just like, who you're like, hey, complete opposite. Like, if you want it that bad, like, go to one of those parlors. Like, stop having like actual massage therapists come to your house. And you creep. Like, what are you doing?
Also, just like Robert Kraft, find one trustworthy one and do repeat business. Like, use your punch card. 9 hand jobs, get the 10th free. You have a different chick every day. One of them is bound to be like, I didn't like this.
Right. Right. That's part of the rush. Is it being a stranger or someone without an education, or there's just enough danger with this girl or guy or whatever. It's. I'm not speaking from experience, of course, but just maybe part of it. Part of the rush.
But no, it was just, I don't know.
It's like how Tom Cruise just insisted on revving those RPMs in Days of Thunder.
Totally.
He had to live on the edge.
Yes.
There's probably something here too with fatherless,
Yeah, and then Minority Report. No father in Minority Report. Unbelievable, man.
Crazy. Well, fellas, that was a good time.
This is a fun show. I like this.
Oh, cool. That's good. Yeah. We kind of don't know what we're doing, believe it or not.
We've been having fun, though.
Yeah.
You got a list of things that happened. Justin's mic turns on halfway through, so that keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're seeing behind the curtain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz back here.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
Yeah. This is coming out right away. I'm actually going to upload it now because I try to get them out on Mondays. Anything to plug?
Oh yeah, it's coming out right now. I've got a show. If anybody's listening, you got if you have a small listenership, I'm assuming there are a lot of your friends, Justin. If you're in the Los Angeles area, you can come to my show at the Hollywood Improv on Thursday in the Lab. I'm doing a night of sports comedy.
Oh, sweet.
That fits right in with this. And then otherwise, Joe Praino on all the things, like my TikToks or whatever. I don't know. I don't know.
Absolutely.
What about you, Pat? What do you got going on?
Ontario. Is it Ontario? Ontario Improv with Steve Byrne.
Nice.
This weekend, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, should be fun.
There you go. And I'm just going to fly out to Phoenix, get drunk with all my friends. So catch me at any bar. And
when are you going to Phoenix? This weekend, Justin?
Yep.
Nice.
And then next Wednesday, I'm at Senator Jones for their new comedy show over there. So that'll be fun.
Sweet. It's a good room. It's a good room.
Yeah. There's a woman that is producing it now, and you do like $15 a ticket, and you get like for a free drink in the show, and she gets good lineups. So
it's the one senator not taking money from special interest groups.
Hey, there we go. So, all right, gentlemen. Once again, thanks for coming on, and we will see everyone else next Monday.